Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I see some people at the back. If you all want to move to the front, welcome. Okay, today we have two esteemed speakers with us, two female investors talking about their journeys as they build their own funds. They come from very long backgrounds and they have years of experience in the investment space. So maybe I'll start with allowing them to introduce themselves. So Francis and Cynthia, could you please start by telling us a bit about your background and what got you started into investment?
Hi, my name is Cynthia Zhang. When I was at the age of 20, I thought I could be a genius programmer because I studied in computer science and I majored in AI during that time. But you know, the fate is I went into financial industry, so I started being a business analyst and get involved lots of projects. So the life has become too busy. So I thought I should go for MBA so that I could see the whole world. So I went to US for my MBA. Then after that, I was selected. Luckily, I was selected by a 11 people hedge fund, and they were the best performer hedge fund during that time back in 2007. So that's how I get into the finance world. And also during that time, because when I was in Boston, so I got involved with lots of interesting Chinese companies listed overseas. And I accumulated lots of experience in fundamental research and investment. So I was offered to come back to China to join the leading mutual fund in China asset management. And during the China asset management, because at the time TMT was very emergent, so no one really have a good TMT background. So I started my TMT investment experience back in 2009. And after 2 or 3 years investing into secondary market, being one of the major investors in Tencent during that time, I launched this idea because I thought we have great insights into leaders in public market, and these public market companies, they start to venture out lots of startups in China. So I thought it would be a great idea to have a venture VC arm under China Asset Management. So at that time, because China Asset Management managed, two 300 billion US dollar, so they are not very excited about my idea to launch this VC fund, but I was very consistent. So during 5 years, I launched the funds, 6 funds, VC funds, and conquered many difficulties, but finally we made great success into investing into Dianping, Didi, Alibaba, and all these 10 years last run famous tech companies. And during the past success, I was able to set up my own fund, FutureX Capital, and we manage 1 billion US dollar together with RMB and USD, altogether 5 funds. And we were able to give money to lots of IC companies and some software company and AI companies. So today, I would say we are quite happy to say we supported so many startup tech companies in China, and was managed to be able to see, at least over 10 companies become IPO'd and become quite successful internationally today as well. So that's my story. It was lengthy, but it was lots of hard decision to make, but it was very exciting for me. Thank you.
We'll go back to some of those investments later.
Oh, my turn. Huh. I start the venture capital investment experience while I work for Intel. Well back that's early of the 90s. So Intel Capital was one of the corporate venture capital arm that invest in China's internet companies. After a few years being on this side of the table, I back to think it's time to start my own business. So I also have a time as an entrepreneur. I start a alternative data company. After a few years, we sold company and think about what to do again. Investment indeed attract me back. So I joined Microsoft Ventures. Well, Microsoft at that time is doing a hard transition and cloud transition. Now Microsoft is a $1 trillion market size, and that time its market price was not that high. And it's trembling at $80 for many, many years. But the cloud transition was very successful and falling on the artificial intelligence transition now. So it catch a lot of spotlight at this moment. But back then, well, I rejoined Microsoft at that time, my friends, especially from startup world, were calling me saying, Francis, are you joining the dark side? That's how, startup people looking at the big corporation. But actually, I'm quite proud that at Microsoft, we actually start a whole work with startup. We're not just a fund investment, but also running accelerators across the globe in 7 different cities. And we work with many accelerators and incubators around the globe that help startup to work with big tech corporations, industry leaders. And a few years after my Microsoft venture time, it's going to the time, the end of 2015. We see the early spark of the AI coming again. And not as hard as today, a ChatGPT born into all media headlines. But we do see this wave of new AI will emerge in next 20 years. Back then, 2015. So a group of people, actually the whole team of Microsoft Ventures, 6 of us leave to fund my current fund called Jiangmen Venture. In Chinese, called Jiangmen, that means the gate to the future. So we are an early stage venture funds focusing investing artificial intelligence and related technologies and its applications in different industries, including finance, healthcare, and extra. So we have made investment from a small ticket, such as a couple $100,000 to a little bigger to A round. So that's our focus. So currently we run 4 different funds, all focus on angel to the early stage. And after 7 years, we also made a couple IPOs and see their growth from the scratch, from 2-person holding a backpack to the time when they grow into 1,000 people or listed. Is part that journey. I'm really excited to work with the entrepreneurs, especially in the tech and the early stage.
Both of you had very tremendous journeys, I feel, and very, very exciting. Can we maybe walk back to the moment that you started your fund, right? The first time. How much did both of you raise for that first fund?
Mine is really small. The reason why it's small, it's just 10 million US dollars around. The reason for why that's small is, like I said, the whole team was out of the same company. So we have to be very low key and have a very smooth transition between this venture and our purest responsibility. But we won't start. So we just read a very small fund and start silently. So the next one will be a little bit bigger. That is one reason. The other one why this fund keeps small is because we, at that time, we tell ourselves that you want investing early, and then keep focused to work with those startups rather than how to grow with them. So the first fund was intensely keeping the very, very small scale. Yours is much bigger.
Yeah, the first fund I raised, the main fund is 100 million plus. So together with co-investment funds, altogether is 300 million plus. Although it sounds very big, but because when I founded my private equity in China Asset Management, our team managed within 3 years, the AUM is about 1.5 billion, and within 5 years, the AUM is about 2.5 billion. So basically, when I started my first fund, it's the smallest fund we have managed. But why we purposely kept that small? It was because it was back in 2018, so the market was not very good. So we actually didn't really have lots of investment ideas. We found it very hard, but 70% of the investment ideas are actually, ByteDance, Kingsoft Cloud, Meituan, Xiaomi, Weilai, New. It were all old investment or old relationship we already had during China Asset Management during that time. So, but we thought it's a good start because 2018 it was everyone is very happy about 独角兽, but actually we thought there was a lot of risk involved. But if I look it back today, right? Even our new fund, it's also around the similar size. Although we had a very good result on our first fund, 2018, this fund we ranked in preaching. It's globally it's ranked top 5%. But why we keep the fund into 100 million to 200 million size? The main reason is because we thought if we can have something, we can have this size, we can really manage well because it's really the sweet spot we have. Because we focus on AI, we focus on cloud computing, we focus on hardware innovation. If we are managing a $1 billion US dollar, very likely we are going to pre-IPO rounds, and very likely we'll go into, fight for the deals. But we want to focus on what focus on selecting the best founders or the most promising founders we like, instead of we just to do investment which you have all the trophy projects or this is looks very good, but however the founders we may not really willing to work with them for next 5 years.
Sticking to fundraising a little bit more, for Francis here, you fundraised for your first fund the first time, 10 million. How was the experience? Was it difficult?
That one, I would say, not that difficult because the reason I said we keep it small, so kind of a friend family run, and we deploy it really quick as well. So I think people invest us, or their investors, more look at our previous experience.
And can you chime in there?
The first fund is it's actually it is very difficult for us because that was 2018. So and when I left, I made decision very quick because in 2017 I went to Silicon Valley. So while I go to all this company, Tesla, OpenAI, I thought, or Facebook Plus, I thought the AI, the 智能时代, the AI world is coming, and I don't want to waste my time in a very big asset management firm. But however, spending 70% of the time in the internal process without really spending the time going out, finding investment and helping the founders. So, so that's why when I leave China Asset Management, I spent 70 of my time finishing all the previous funds. So my previous LP, they can receive money from China Asset Management. So I didn't really have the idea how I can raise my fund for my first fund. So it's just out of passion. But I was very lucky. I still remember very clearly. I think by end of February, when the lawyer has set up the fund structure, we have no commitment. We have no LP committed for the fund, and we are about to commit the next. Because we made the investment we have signed the contract to make the investment. It's a 100 million investment, so I was very nervous. However, within 20 days, we got 170 million money committed and remitted to us. So that was really a miracle. There are too much to say on the miracle side, but I would say lots of LPs they were touched by our ideas, by our passion, our commitment towards tech industry. Yeah.
Sticking with you, Cynthia, you earlier, Francis already talking about the importance of experience. So for you, you were managing asset management funds previously. How important was experience and traction in your case that allowed you to get that 100 million almost immediately, that miracle, 20 days you mentioned?
I think less than 10% are previous LPs, because when I managed the fund for China Asset Management, I attracted most LPs, they are state-owned company. So state-owned company will not invest into a first-time fund. So over the 90% new LPs, there are three classes. Number one, our own money. So our GP, the whole team and the relatives, we committed 10% of the fund. That's basically all my money are in the fund. The second group is our good friends. I do have 3 LPs. They are major supporter. I have known them for like 5 years plus. But one LP told me, every time we raise fund for China Asset Management, he doesn't want to participate because he thought this is a state-owned companies. No one own that fund. But because I start up my own fund, so he want to support us. So I think it's really the friends and the family who really know us, who are willing to, give us the money. And the third group is really, luck, because for the third group, I met lots of LPs. It's really I met them for the first time. And they gave me money. Like one of the LP talked to me for three hours and gave us 5 million. But one thing they always in past 5 years when they meet me, they always mention they say I was very hardworking because I was pregnant for my third boy. So I was pregnant. That was 6 months, and I was still traveling, and I was raising the money. So they were very touched. They say if women are willing to raise up three sons and still willing to start up a new company, and they feel they feel huge commitment. So they feel there is a trust on that.
Speaking of that, being a woman and leading your own fund, Francis, do you think there's any advantage or disadvantages to being a women-led fund?
I would say I wouldn't want to put our fund, woman-led fund. When I talk to entrepreneurs or talk to investors, we just want to be the best performance funds, the most friendly investors to a startup, and give the best performance. But the question always comes because this is the facts world, right? they always ask whether, because our funds actually have 2/3 of the funding partner are women. That is not, would say, in the majority part of the venture capital world. So that's a fact that we have to face, that whether a woman-led fund would different with the male men's-led funds. I would think in both sides will have advantage. In our world of technology and artificial intelligence, maybe I can borrow a talk that, in the backstage we have a small talk, between motivators and Cynthia. Is in the artificial world, although we always call the hard tech, you will see less women in this world. But the AI is the best computing, or whenever in this world and in the future. And the women have a more human touch compared with the other. But whether this saying would be good to the other side of gender and men, I would say whether or not we emphasize the woman part or not, it's not help our performance. It's not help our investment. But let's, I continue want to borrow again, because I really, think Cynthia says right, is we have to leverage our best of the both sides. I'm stolen too much of your word. You have to.
So Cynthia, do you think women invest differently compared to men?
Definitely. Of course, I like to use the advantages of women. I think women has 3 advantages. Number one, I think women are more balanced. I think lots of men, they want to fight, they want to win. And the women, because like for me, I need to balance my parents, my husband parents, balance my 3 sons. So all my schedule are always very packed, because I always need to make different parties happy. So that habit actually help a lot in tech investment, because in technology, most founding teams, they are all, being a founder, you need to have strong character. So I was always a person who helped to, negotiate or balance out in the founding team, because founder 1 fight with founder 2, they don't talk to each other. So I jump in and say good things about founder 2 to founder 1. So try to balance out. That happens a lot in tech investment. That's why you see there are so many co-founders left a promising tech companies. So in my company, in our portfolio, this situation has been very much reduced due to our team, because we make use of women's advantages. And the number 2, I think women are very persistent. I have one LP. She is co-founder for WPS. So when WPS now is the highest, I think, market cap company in 科创板. And he, during the hardest time, even everyone gave up in WPS, even Lei Jun, and she continued to find orders for WPS, because of her persistency, we are able to have WPS today. So I think women are really, I saw lots, not only this case, I saw a few cases. Women are really the people who stand behind in the dark time. We all know companies, they have cycles, just like a capital market, they have cycles. So when you hit difficulties, when you are in difficult times, you need women to stand behind the company, to help the company to solve all these problems. And the number three, I think women, they are more, they are not, women always think about, women, they think very, how do I say, backup plans. when men always think for how much we can win, I want to win this battle, and the women will think, if we lose, how can we how can we prevent from losing? So I think it's good to, especially nowadays, the world is changing very fast. We see so many risks we never seen before. So I think the influence and the power of women are more the ability of women to prevent from failure are becoming more and more important today in today's world.
I definitely see a lot of those characteristics that you mentioned. You know, at She Loves Tech, we run the world's largest startup competition for women, and so many founders exhibit some of those good characteristics, and it's all about persistence and resilience. That's what we've seen over the pandemic as well. And, you know, talking about investments, what's your investment philosophy, Francis?
Our investment philosophy, especially myself, actually is first we need to find a really big market, big potential, next big tech wave, because technology grows and expand and cycling in different ways. So we have to have this mark on our historical views about how this will evolve. Why Jiangmen is focused on artificial intelligence, why we start off on firm is indeed when we started, we saw this big trend coming, and they will compel a huge investment opportunity, not just one, but a series of investment opportunity in the next 20 years. So the first one is you need to find this big wave. Otherwise, we'll just spotlight investment. And secondly, find what's your strengths. I think our team and my strength is more on the early side. So around this, our strength, we will build our, build our way how to find those startups, how to work with them, and how to grow with them. So find our strength and build the system, the engine, not just one person shop to around the strengths. So we identify that we were good at the early stage investment, so we build a community, tech community, and we do weekly this event to get community stronger, and that's kind of things systematically doing that. And then, but not the last, but the first is when you do the early investment like us, it's all about people, because the playground we already identify. So it's all about people and how the team works. So I'm saying the third point, but that's always my first point when we look at the team.
Cynthia, you shared about some of those very well-known names, investments that you've made in the past. How do you evaluate the potential of companies when you invest?
That's a very good question. Typically, just now when I was thinking about our philosophy, it's lots of time we see a lot of things. Oh, these are our criteria. We have a FutureX. We have three sets of criteria about people, organization, about industry, about the company. However, when I think about what out of all these philosophies, what are the most strategies? I think three parts. Number one, we are very focused, so we want to find focused founders. We only invest into companies which empower either of these three core tech power, either AI, data intelligence, or cloud, or hardware innovation. So we like founders who are tech background and very focused. And the number two, we look at we like founder with business sense. Of course, this is very difficult to find. So that's why people say Zhang Yiming are like panda, because he's a programmer and he really have business sense and who can build organization as well. But we do find many people like this in our our portfolio company. So we like founders who look at why business is important, because we want the technology can really help, can solve the real industry problem, in demand. For example, now the chips become a bottleneck for lots of tech supply chain. For example, the AI are empowering lots of industry to solve the real problem. Number three, we look at a lot on the people. People is most difficult to look at because all the VCC will look for good people. Now I start to realize after investing to $3 billion US, after over 60 investment, I myself start to realize is I can only choose the founder which I can recognize. Which means if I can only pick up those people based on my judgment. So investment is it's to invest on my how I perceive the world. Is for example, if I perceive this founder, tech is important, so I chose the tech. So which means as being an investor, I think we have to improve our recognition about the whole world. We have to improve our own self. So that's why 6 years ago I started 辟谷, 国学, and I do lots of 慈善, because I do all this is because I want to improve my knowledge about the whole world, so that I can recognize those, I can be able to connect those visionary founders. I can be able to help them, not only give money to them. So I think number three, people is most important, and there are too much to talk about how we can select good potential founders. But also, people change. So even when you invest into a founder, the founder change a lot. So we in FutureX, 天际资本, we develop a system to help founder to grow themselves, so that they can, they can grow up with, especially in the new AI world. Things change very fast. We want to help the founder to fast develop their skill set, so they are able to build the organization much stronger. Yeah.
I want to unpack that a little bit more, but it seems like we don't have a lot of time. So I want to jump into a topic that everyone seems to care about these days quite a lot, which is AI, artificial intelligence. Both of your funds happen to focus on it as well. So I'm wondering, what are some of the trends that you see in AI? And as women-led funds, women investors, do you see any advantages as a woman investor investing in such technologies? A question to both of you.
We are all in AGI. So our 51 portfolio companies, we all influence them so that they can put AI to be the first one and most important strategy for their portfolio for their company strategy. And secondly, we for the whole firm on weekly basis, we are discussing on AI, looking at AI, how AI is changing the whole industry. So because we, being a women, I think naturally we have disadvantage in this AI world, because lots of women, they are very resistant to change. And AI is changing the whole world. It's a new age to come. So being a woman, I think the first one most important things is we shall use AI. We shall use AI every day and understand what's behind. But women's advantage, I think, in this AI world is because lots of women, they are very emotional. So typically people think emotional is a disadvantage for women in a lot of things, especially in career. However, I think in AI world, emotion, which means love and companion, could be a huge advantage, because in the future, all the technical things you can use AI to do. However, the creativity and the love, you use emotion to connect to other people, connect to the whole world. This ability will become more and more difficult and more important in the whole world. So I think if women use emotion, use love well, in this AI world, women can do a lot of great things.
Francis, do you agree, or do you have anything to chime in on?
Actually, I haven't think about the gender or woman or man will impact in the AI world. However, given just statistics, most of the famous founders of this AI leading company, indeed, it still men. Even OpenAI, they have a lady chief scientist.
Yeah. CTO, yeah.
Yeah, CTO. But still, the number is not that big. But on the other hand, that means opportunity, right? So I still have confidence that women tech leader will be part of this new AI wave. That's my answer for this. Although currently the number is few, but in future I have confidence. I totally agree Cynthia's, theory about how women use advantage or in this area. But I want to expand a little bit about what next in AI. ChatGPT, GPT-4, this generic AI had caused all these tensions and hotlines. But that's not the end of this year. I recall a paper research published by OpenAI and Microsoft just, I think, last month. It's saying they see a sparkle of the night artificial general intelligence. Let's give our direction. This next big wave will be on artificial generic intelligence, means AGI. And towards AGI, it's not about creative, like drawing the mid-journey, all these things. Is for the rationale, all these technologies, not just a black box like now. So you have to go next level, all the rationale, and more of the reason, the passion, the value of our people. Even at this moment, research and scientists, some of our portfolios are ahead of more on artificial general intelligence world. This is one direction. On the other hand, totally agrees with Cynthia, is every other company, if not, you're not able to build a large language model, use it. Use all the world and tools that appears, it's just like a blooming spring. Tracking is a very exhausting word, but that will really bring a lot of big working efficiencies and all these benefits to the current workflow. So first, we will continue investing in the AI next level, artificial intelligence general, and on the other hand, some of the investment focus will be on application side. We just made two, I see past two investment last month, so that will be continue our focus.
Speaking of the focus, since we have 30 seconds, what are your future plans, actually? Any exciting investments, any exciting plans for either of you as individual investors, as Zhang and FutureX?
AI will continue to be our focus and will be our focus since our inception. It will be continuing next couple of years, I think, till my retire.
Same here. We focus more on not only on applications, also on fundamental side. So we heavily invest into IC industry. We hope we saw some hope that we might help to release the current situation, which the the chips, the advanced chips technologies are very lagging behind in China. We have our portfolio companies do have some solution for that, and we continue to invest in both hardware innovation as well as AI side as well. I think AI is a fundamental tool for everything, for every industry. So basically what we have, all the industry we have invested before, they will use AGI as a new tool. So we still continue to invest into the industry we already built and have knowledge on.
On that note, that wraps up our panel. Please join me in thanking our two speakers here. Women investors are definitely on the rise, and we hope that more women join us as investors into startups. So thank you again to both of our speakers here.